Show
7 o'clock.
with your favorite music. So
Yes.
it's hilarious. Who loves this? I love it.
Yes.
See, here. That's right. Hey, girl.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are
Yes,
you?
I can't complain. I can't
I
complain
love
at
it. I love it.
all.
I love it. Well, sugar pie, here we go again.
Again.
Here we go again. I'm loving it. Every second, every
Yes,
minute of it.
yes, yes,
So
yes,
I'm
yes.
super excited, guys, for this week. Ooh, as you can see, I got some company. So, guys, listen. I am look, when they say you on location, I'm on location.
Mm-hmm.
Literally. I done came all the way to Greensboro, North Kakalaki to get
Mm.
this stuff right here, baby. Listen, this that special edition.
Yes, special edition.
Yes, 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 yes.
So,
I'm excited.
everybody, we are not going to prolong the time, as the preacher say.
Mhm.
We gonna get right into this today. So,
Mm.
what I want to do is let y'all know that we have an awesome guest. We are talking about the spiritual and mental health during grief today.
Yes.
So I know Mother's Day is coming. Every month is something for us, right? Every month. So, but Mother's Day is coming, and we want to talk to our mothers and help everybody, not just mothers, but help us go through the holidays. Um, and we want to visit the spiritual side of it. We want to visit the mental health side of it
Mhm.
because we have to attack it all, right? So, what better way to do that if
Mhm.
to bring on somebody that is in that field that have done the work, but I'm gonna let her do her own bio, introduce herself. But for my sister, my friend, um, a little bit of everything. She is like a new part of the family. I'm a new
Yes,
part of their
yes,
family.
yes.
But Dr. Erica Hendricks in Greensboro, North Carolina.
Oh my gosh. Let me check
Right?
out
Energy
background.
flow.
That's what my family
Yeah.
from. Let me check out background.
Right. Check the background.
Yes.
But I'm gonna let her introduce herself, and then Key, I know you wanted to ask a couple questions, and then let her go on. This is gonna be y'all. I'm gonna do a
Yes.
whole lot of less talking. I'm gonna let her do what she do best. So Dr. Hendricks, I'm
Yes,
so
I
excited.
am so excited to be here. I am so glad I got an opportunity to tune in last week to listen. Um, and it was so enlightening. I enjoyed the two gentlemen that you have on. And I like the fact that you all kept stressing mothers with grief, but you brought fathers on to talk
Yes.
about that. And men are my heart.
Yes.
Men are my heart. And I'm telling you, it's just something that I think that we really don't really talk about. But my journey, um, I'm kind of Jamaican. I do a lot. I did a lot of things in my long time ago. But when I
I
started out
love
in
it.
ministry 29 years ago, early part of our ministry, I had to go through chaplaincy. That was part of our one of my curriculums for my master's. And so I figured, well, and so I did part of my dissertation on grief and dying. And so I did that, my research on that. And this is gonna sound weird, but I was always intrigued how dying and death, because they're two different things. We'll get to that, how they affect the psyche and the person afterwards. So the closest person I ever lost in my life was my grandfather. And I lost him 25 years ago. The hardest thing for me was that my mom and brother were there, but I had to be the one to tell my dad that his dad passed. That was hard for me. And so, but in my chaplaincy, I had the opportunity to serve. And a lot of people say, Erica, you were not afraid or you were not fearful. So I was called to scenes of accidents. I was called to hospitals, called into rooms where they brought the family in. And a lot of times family don't understand when you're brought to the hospital and you're brought in a room separate from anybody else, there's two things. It's a severe accident or they're already deceased. I've walked families to pull their family members off of life support. So I've walked them through the process. I've walked them all the way to the grave and beyond, and been there for them. And so for me, grief and mental health go hand in hand. We like to deal with the grief and the loss, but it's after everybody leaves, after they left you and you're there, then the mental kicks in. And then when it's quiet and nobody's visiting, nobody's calling, nobody's bringing no chicken, and you're there to have to deal with the silence and the memories, then that's the hard part. And I think that's where a lot of people stop and they tell themselves, I can't live beyond this point. And I know at the hospital, well, we won't recommend hospice counseling, but it's hard to make that first step to get into the door. And if you get into the door, how do you start talking? So 2 years ago, my cousin was in a very horrible accident. And I had preached that night. I never forget, it was May the 30th, 2019. Got home, turned my phone back on, our phones blew up. Mama said, Eric, we got to go to the hospital. Alan's been in a very horrific accident. I said, okay, I said, Mom, I'm tired. I don't feel like going. I said, we're going to go. So when we immediately got there, I saw the state trooper, I saw the chaplain, I saw the hospital. And when I saw that room, I didn't say anything, but I knew what that room meant. And my aunt said, Erica, why are we in this room? So I said, well, listen, Amber, there's two things while we're in this room. I said, but I know you're emotional, but I need for you to hear me. It's going to be a lot of people coming and explaining to you. They're going to be asking you questions. They're going to be saying things. But if you don't want to answer, you don't have to. If you want me to speak up, I will. And so she said, no, I want to talk. And so I asked she said, well, I can't ask him, is he dead or alive? So I asked. They said, he's alive. We had to go and immediately go ahead and drill, put a tube in his head to try to stop the swelling. And so we got in the room and she said, Erica, does that mean? I said, well, in this room does not mean that he's dead, but it's serious. So the hospital chaplain, he just stood back. He said, well, I'm gonna let you keep talking because you're the family. The state trooper came in, he explained, he talked, we sat in that room, and then they let us go out one by one. So I said, I'm gonna stay in here. I stayed back with the chaplain and the state trooper to get the real story because I knew there was more there than what they were saying. Make a long story short, he lived 2 weeks, and beyond that, he was brain dead. I think within that week or so, they kind of kept him alive because he's an organ donor, and so the organ donor is a whole nother thing. I got kind of turned off with that, but that's another story for another segment.
That's a part two.
Yes, a part two. But I realized through that I watched my family, my aunt and uncle and the kids, and him and his wife were divorced, but I watched his kids, I watched his siblings. I watched the whole dynamics play out. I'm watching them. And then I had to leave because I had to go preach in Hampton, Virginia. So I had to leave. So I had to leave them there. So I'm in Hampton. They're dealing with that. And so I come back. My brother calls me. He gives me some information. So I get back and we get to the point, and my grandmother was in assisted living here in Greensboro. I said, Mama, y'all gonna have to tell grandma because we all took turns to go sit with her. He had already missed 2 Wednesdays, and she said, "Where is my boy?" 2 Wednesdays had passed. By that, I said, "Mama, y'all." Mama said, I'm not telling her." I said, "Well, who you want to tell her?" So I had to tell her. So I went out there to assisted living, me and my cousin. I said, "Grandma, well, it's been an accident." She said to me, "Now she had a stroke. She hadn't talked. She couldn't get her words out." She said this to me just as clear. "What took you so long to come and get me?" She knew something was wrong. We got her dressed, got her to the hospital. She got there. She said, "I got to see him." So we went on in, and she said, "Brenda, you gonna be okay? Because I've been here twice." She said, "You're gonna make it." She said, "It's hard. I've buried 2 kids, but you are gonna make it." She said, "Mama, I am." She said, "You're gonna make it." And she said, "Well, I'm fine. Y'all can take me back to the assisted living." We got in the car. She said, "Erica, he's not gonna make it." But she said, "We're gonna be okay." I said, "Grandma, we're gonna be okay." And so the funeral came. We got to the point of the funeral, and they asking me questions. "Erica, why?" And "Erica this, and Erica that." I'm like, "Well, I don't have answers." The one thing God said to me, and I never forget it, He said, "You may not always understand my plan, but you can trust my hand." God will never deal you a hand that you can't handle. And I said, "God, that's a deep answer. What do I do with that? How do I dismantle that statement?" And He said, "And wait and hold the statement the day of the funeral." I said it, and it's like a peace fell in the church. And as at that moment, I realized, God, we don't know why, but God, the plan for his life at 40, this was it. And we had to be at peace with that. And so my brother, Brian, and him were best friends. They had just left dinner that night. They had just both dropped their kids off. And they hadn't been gone from each other only an hour. Wow. So Brian he's still dealing with that, but that was hard for him. And so the mental piece of that now comes in. You start asking yourself the question, what could I have done? Lord, was he saved? Was he ready? Lord, what am I going to do beyond this? You start going things. So your mind starts to play tricks on you. It starts asking you questions. And then you start thinking to yourself, then you try to be strong because you got your kids, his children, grandchildren. You're trying to manage all that and yourself. So the mental peace comes in. God, I don't know if I can breathe. I don't know if I can live beyond this. So I've sat with families and I've tell them, let's just breathe. And that's all we've done in our counseling sessions is just breathe. And then the next time we come back, bring me something of them. Let's just hold it together. So we've been through that process where we've just walked them through. I preached a sermon one time on the stages of grief. And what do you do when you get stuck on one stage? And the number one stage that we get stuck at is anger. We're angry. That's the stage of grief that we get stuck because we don't really understand why my child. Why mine? My child wasn't like some of these other kids. My child wasn't out here. He wasn't gang banging. He wasn't doing. These are questions you're asking yourself. And you have to ask yourself that. And those questions within themselves can literally almost drive you crazy. So then you have to settle, God, how do I compartmentalize all that I'm dealing with in my mind? Because I got to stay sane for other people who are counting on me. What do I do? And then you have to kind of roll back. And then the other hard part is I got to get up every day and tell myself, today's a new day. I can make it. But on the inside, you tore up. But you're smiling, saying, I'm okay. And I used to tell the people I counsel them when I was doing pastoral care and counseling, you don't have to be strong with me. You can scream, you can holler, you can do it all with me. Because I know that's what you want to do. But if you do it in your car in the parking lot, they're gonna think you're really crazy.
Yeah.
So that let's do it in a space where you can do whatever you want to do. If you want to, I had a punching bag. I let them hit the bag, hit the bag, hit the bag, and hit it. Because you can't hit the person, but I can
Right.
hit the bag. And
Mhm.
so I use different coping skills. So I did that for years. I did grief counseling, pastoral counseling, and I kind of got away from it. And not because I didn't want to keep it. Other things started happening. I got caught back in it. So that's kind of where I am and what I've done. But I love what I do. I love the mental health space. Been in it for 20 years. And that within itself, it's another form of grief as well. A lot of them have been placed in the system, so they're grieving from a family that they've been separated from, and many of them have not seen their families since they were 2 years old.
Wow.
That's another form of grief. And some of them have lost parents, and we can't tell them because they're wards of the state.
Wow.
So the state won't let us tell them your mom is dead, and some of the parents have been dead for 5-10 years, but I can't tell them, and the state won't tell them. And the day I just counseled a young man, he wants to know, where are my real parents? I can't tell him. His real parents are deceased.
Wow.
So he's in the system, mental health, he's in the system. He's autistic, he's high functioning. But today was a day he literally came to my office and said, I want to know. His grandparents are raising him, but his grandparents won't tell him. It's like, Miss Erica, what do we do? We tell him, and what if he explodes? I said, it's okay because he's here with us, it's not with y'all.
Mm-hmm.
We can walk him through the process.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another form of grief.
Mm-hmm.
So grief comes in different forms and waves and shapes. It does.
Yeah.
So, Key,
Mm-hmm.
I know I said a lot.
Yeah,
No, I mean,
I
that,
love it.
yeah, that was heavy.
Yeah.
It was,
Yeah.
you touched on things that, yeah, you hit yeah. My biggest thing when we decided to do this segment was we have two sides, I want to say, those that lean on their spiritual belief and those that can't see past their pain to feel that, to look to their higher, being, whomever they believe in. But what I wanted to ask you, if you can please enlighten us and others that is tuned in, what type of experiences have you had with individuals that when it comes to losing a child or a loved one that just can't deal with talking to God or whomever they believe in?
I had one family, the dad in particular. The mom was a believer, and the dad lost all faith and hope with God after it was over. He said, why would a God that I serve, a God I pray to, a God I have faith in, allow my child to die? And his daughter got killed by a stray bullet. She was at a party, and she was just a casualty. It was not meant for her. And he says, how could God have allowed this to happen to my child? Angry. He got at the funeral and he cussed at the funeral. And I told them, let him cuss. The pastor started to stop him. I said, no. He is grieving. Don't dare stop him. Let him get it out. Let him say what he needs to say because he's angry. I said, because if you don't let him get this anger out of here, it's going to come out somewhere else. Why not let this be the space for him to have that moment here? Now, he's not yet returned to the church. He's still angry with God. But one of the things that he'll periodically text me, and I'll say to him, and I know some people on here, the church folk, is so spiritual, and I tell him it is okay to be angry with God. And I said to him, God got angry. When God got angry, he went into the temple and he turned the tables over. He got angry with the people because they would not do what he asked them to do. So whenever we talk about that, we paint God in the picture as if God did not have real emotions like us. He was angry. He didn't want to die for us. He agonized in the garden. Now I'm gonna die for ungrateful, unappreciative, unloving, unkind people who don't deserve my love. So I've got to do this, but I really don't want to do this. The Bible said he was in so much anguish that he was depressed. It was anxiety. He had set in so much. The Bible said that the sweat was like blood dropping from him. He was in torment. You want me to do something for somebody I know who is going to ultimately, they're going to betray me. They're going to lie on me. They're going to walk away from me. And you want me to serve? You want me to die for them? But he did it. So I said to him, it is okay to be angry. And I will not dare tell him, stop being angry. I tell him at some point, maybe one day, you will get to a point where the anger will subside and you'll begin to see your daughter not as a victim, but as your child whom you loved.
Oh, God.
So I had to rephrase it for him because he kept saying she was a victim. I said, no, she's your daughter whom you love. And you still love even though she's not here.
That's real good.
So that's why I had to rephrase. So it's about really speaking to them, those individuals in a space, and reframing words. And don't try to tell them they don't have a right to be angry. And I tell people, and we were trained that way. We were trained, never try to change someone else's emotional state. Let them feel the way they are feeling in the moment, in the time, because that's their real truth. That's their real emotion. And for me to try to switch how they feel, it's me manipulating their emotions. And I'm not here to manipulate you because number one, I cannot identify with that type of pain because I have a lost child. So I can't tell you don't do this and don't say that. I can't do that. But I know that grief hurts. I know that grief leaves a void. I know that grief is something that if we all keep living, we're gonna go through grief. It may not be a child, but it's gonna be a mother, it's gonna be a sibling, it's gonna be something that we're gonna have to contend with. The question remains, God, help me to be in the frame of mind that if I'm angry, don't tell me to stop being angry. And then you got people who walk away. Marriages have broke up because she was trying to hold on to God, or he was trying to hold on to God, and she didn't have nothing to do with God. And so now it's like you were, and I tell them at that point, it's really, you can be in counseling all you want to. It's not going to change the anger. It's not going to change the point that it's not. So I tell people, don't feel your truth. And let it do what it do, because eventually, if you don't, it will eat you alive.
Yes, it will.
You'll die from grief. And people have literally died from grief. Yeah. They die from grief. Yeah.
Ooh, honey, I need it. Like that has been an ongoing thing around the world, basically.
Yes.
People that it's a thing to be spiritual and to just feel like you're above everything when you can look down on someone and say, pray about it. And I remember you going on my page and saying, woo.
And it's fine.
Yep. It's
You
okay.
already know.
Yes.
Come on,
Yes.
sister.
Yes. It's okay.
And said, you pray for me. I can't even lift my head up off this pillow, but you're telling me to pray. I don't even know what to say. And then I started getting support saying, your tears are enough. You don't have to say anything. He knows your heart. But that's what people need to hear, not just pray. And it just seemed like it's belittling your emotions when they say just pray. And it hurts my heart when I see other people on people's page on social media and say, well, God is and they're in a better place and all of that. No, we feel like the better place is with us.
With us, yes,
Right.
yes.
You know, so that's what we feel. But it's so easy for people that have not experienced the loss of a child, mother, father, other people, to look down and think because you grieve in a certain way that you're grieving
Yeah.
wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was why I wanted you to, a third party, say that, because people need to hear it's okay. It's
Yes, it
okay.
is. It is.
Now we get ready to switch up a little bit. I really wanted you to speak on from the mental health aspect because it's so many of woo, that we were perfectly fine. Well, at least we felt like it before we dealt with this trauma. And then to be dealt with PTSD, depression, anxiety, having to take medication. So I wanted you to speak to those that are against medication and those that it actually can help. And it's okay either way. Because it's people struggling with that now that feel that have people saying, you better not take that medicine. They always trying to throw medicine at you. And if those that truly knew me, I was on 5 different medications after the death of my child. I don't take anything now. I am who I am today. And it's sad that you have to keep it a secret that you were on medication because of, I'm already grieving, but to get the backlash of, oh yeah, did I look high and out of it? No, I did not. Because what I went to the therapist and psychiatrist and said was, I am tired. I need help, but I still want to be able to function. And that's what I did. They got me as far as they can get me as far as functioning as best as possible. But we have so many people that are so afraid to use medication or see a psychiatrist. They think it's taboo, and not only because of the grief, but because where we were at when we were younger and were taught, keep it in the household, or what are they going to do for you? Like I always tell my sis, my beautiful sis, I have a therapist, but I've realized, like you said, therapy wasn't going to help me deal with my grief. Therapy helped me unpack the trauma and unpack things and be able to place it in certain spaces so I can do it in a more healthy way to where it's not taking over me. So I don't want to talk too much, but please, could you speak on that for our listeners, please?
I just, this ironic, last night I just finished submitting. I'm in a second PhD program. Yeah, I'm crazy too anyway. So I just last night submitted my paper last night, and my paper was on cultural competency of the stigma of African American men in mental health. And one of the things in my paper that I talked about, the stigma that the Black community has as it relates to mental health, therapy, and medication. But what we don't connect the two is that we see higher rates of incarceration. We see a higher rates of suicide. We see higher rates of loss of employment because of trauma, PTSD, grief. All these things are a combination of things that we see. And then we're told that if you take the medicine, or they're going to put it in your employment record that you crazy or you on medication, so it's going to follow you. And so we start planting these seeds that so that you are back away from getting help. So a couple of years ago, my mom and my best friend, we did a presentation for a couple of Black churches here in Greensboro. And it was so overwhelming of the parents who sat in that church, bust out in tears, crying, because they were told, don't put your child on medication because they're going to label your child. Your child going to be labeled. And one parent said to me, she said, but I'm grieving because I don't know this child. I birthed her, but I don't know her. And you said I can't put her on medication, but how do I deal with somebody who I birthed? I don't know. Now you're telling me I done lost a child and I don't need to go on medication. I can just talk it through. Therapy is good because I got a therapist. But the thing that I've learned in therapy can only get you so far as you said. Medication helps you stabilize. It helps you get to a point where you can sleep. You can at least close your eyes and rest. Your
Mhm.
mind will stop racing. And you
Mhm.
get where you're able to not have anxiety and panic attacks. You get in your car, you get somewhere you can't get out the car because you're having an anxiety attack. Your panic attack. You're getting around people and you realize, oh, I can't stay here. It's too many people. It's too many reminders. And so I tell people, take the medication, see the therapist, and put the things they put in place for you to do it. Because what it does is it's helping you. We don't care about what all the other people got to say. Because if they ain't lost nobody, they can tell you all day, oh, I wouldn't take that other shoe. No, no,
Yeah.
no. They ain't walked a mile in your shoes.
Mhm.
They ain't lost a child. So they got a lot to say when they ain't lost nobody. But when
Mhm.
you lost somebody and you don't want to get up out the bed, now all you want to do is sleep in a dark room. You don't want to eat. You don't want to sleep. And you barely can get up and go take a shower. And then you can get back in the bed. See, these are things that I've counseled people through. I've seen this up hand close and personal where I've had to walk. I've had to go to people's houses, open the curtains, get you out the bed and say, let's go get in the tub and let the water get on you because it's therapeutic.
Yes. Yeah.
Listen,
Yes.
we
Yes.
talking what we've done. I
Yes.
have literally,
Yeah.
she had went and had, what, you had surgery on your foot or something.
My knee.
But it was at a point that, okay, now it was dark. I went to Baltimore.
Yeah.
And opened up her curtain, came in. She didn't even know I was coming.
Come in. Yeah.
But when you know that pain,
You can hear it.
Because we were just talking about this earlier on my way here.
Mhm.
You know, we have people say, "Oh yeah, you know, our journeys are alike." No, we have the exact same journey,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Literally, it's mirrored.
Yeah.
But we deal with it far as how we are coping
Yeah.
differently.
Mhm.
Where she's been to therapy,
Mhm.
where she's been on medication,
Yeah.
where she's done where on my end I haven't.
Yeah.
But the journey is the same.
The journey is the same.
The journey is
Yeah.
the same, and it takes nothing from her
Nothing.
and nothing from me that
Mhm.
we've done it differently.
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
there's that moment where I'm on the flight,
Yeah.
I'm on the way,
Yeah.
because I know if you go in this hole,
That's right. That's it.
my and love my husband to death,
Yeah.
he can't pull me out of that hole.
No.
My mama, somebody that
Has been there.
that is there,
Yes.
that is going through the
Yes.
journey,
Yes.
is the only person that can literally pull us out
Mhm.
of it.
Yeah.
So, people don't understand that sometimes, and my favorite thing is, I ain't able and I ain't stable sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm just not.
It's true.
I'm just not like, and we was just talking
Okay, yeah.
about, the death of my puppy. Like,
Yeah.
it's like, that's a different type of, but when you lose a child, you're so numb
Mhm.
to other death
Yeah.
that it's like, okay, sometimes you feel guilty
Yeah.
because you haven't really grieved.
Yeah.
So like, that's like my question
Mhm.
for you. So I lost, you saw my brother on last week. So I lost a niece, I lost a son,
Mhm.
I lost a sister right after my son.
Mm.
So in 2016, we lost 5 people.
Yeah.
Family, blood,
Mhm.
Yeah. But my son was in that
Yeah.
middle. Everything else, now I've lost a brother.
Yeah.
I've lost 2 brothers.
Yeah.
One on my father's side and immediately my mother's side. So I've lost all these people, but I don't feel like I've grieved them.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't feel like I've and sometimes it's like, have I given them their due?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Because I lost a son.
You lost a son. Yeah.
So what do you do and how do you do with when you
but
yeah,
so,
you know where
yeah. So to phrase that in a retrospect, you're grieving, but you don't know that you're grieving. You're dealing with it, but you're compartmentalizing it.
Okay.
So you have your son, you got your niece, you got your brother, you got your sister. It's all of us spending time. Now I can relate to this because my dad lost all his siblings and his father in a matter of 18 months.
Woo.
He lost all of them in 18 months. So I lived that with him. We walked that experience.
Wow.
Father, his son, my dad's brother, his dad, his brother, both sisters, and then his final brother. All in a span of 18 months. He lost them all. So now it's just him and his mom.
Right.
So the grief process, and often when I look at my granny who's 98, I'm thinking like, how did you deal it? But for her, God got her through. You know, granny, 98, yeah, God got her through. But my dad, I've never seen him grieve. I've seen him cry once, and that was at his oldest brother funeral, the last one to die. And have never seen my dad cry in my life. That's the only funeral. But because he saw his dad decline. He watched his dad, my granddad had Alzheimer's, dementia. He watched him decline over time. His brother was killed. He was hit by a car. So that within itself, so he watched the dad, but his brothers were like, and they were making plans on what he was going to do. That never happened. So he was angry for a long time. It's angry at the fact that he wasn't supposed to die because we had plans. We were supposed to do this and we were supposed to do that. And so being because he's ex-military, I think part of his, they've taught them not to feel. So he doesn't, he's a Vietnam vet.
Right.
They've taught them not to feel. So he doesn't feel. I think he's just internalized that, whatever. And I think for you, and it may be that the moment you grieve, it's going to be a river. It's going to flow. And you almost feel like the river's not going to stop. And when the river does, it will stop eventually. But if the river never flows, it may not flow today. It may flow next year. But when it flows, it's going to flow. It's going to hit. And you're going to get it out. And they're going to say, what's wrong? You're just grieving. Yeah. It's just delayed grief. It's just delayed grief. It's just delayed grief. Because you're still wrestling in your mind. This is not really real. This really is not real. Because, siblings, I list this. But a child, this ain't real.
Right.
And I'm not minimalizing siblings, but
right.
A child you carried, you birthed
that part.
Siblings, we grew up together. My child, this ain't real. When does it become real? How do I deal with it really becoming real? And when you get up, he's not there. It's don't worry about it. He's just somewhere.
Yes.
That's And this is when the therapist and the mental health people come in. I hear you, but we have to come to reality.
Yes.
Physically. But he is here emotionally. He is here emotionally. So you have to make sure that whatever you're doing, you have to confirm that whatever you're doing, that it makes sense to you. It doesn't have to make sense to nobody else, but it's gotta make sense to you. We don't care about it don't make sense to everybody else.
Right.
Because they ain't been in your shoes. So the dam is gonna break. It's going to break. And then she's going to have to come from Baltimore to Atlanta.
I'm coming.
Because it's going to break. I'm going to tell you what, it has to break.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
It has to break. You can no longer, you can't hold it because it's not going to, it won't let you hold it.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
So it's going to break. And when that breaking comes, you're gonna probably feel like it's final. It's
Wow.
this is it.
Ooh.
But it's
Yeah.
Mm.
not.
Yeah.
It's just
Right.
a release
Yeah.
Mhm.
See,
that
that's
he's
the
still
thing.
there.
Yeah.
So you try to
Mhm.
hold on to the fact that God, if I do that, then it's final.
Yeah.
Mm.
And now that's so good because like I wouldn't get his stone.
Yeah.
I would not.
Yeah.
It took me 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And people, his friends would be like, well, why haven't he got, we would go out there.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
got flowers. I know where he at.
yeah,
I know all
yeah,
that.
yeah.
I'm having part. And they like, well, why she
Mhm.
won't get, and it wasn't because I didn't have the money.
Yeah, yeah.
It was because it made it final.
Final.
Mhm.
Yes. Made it final.
It
Yeah.
made it final.
Yeah.
So, and like for me now, I still feel like so I don't go as much
Yes.
because
Yeah.
his picture is on there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So for me, it it really hurts worse now
Yeah. Because the picture's
that
there.
it's there.
It's there. Yeah.
That hurts worse for me.
Yeah.
I almost wish I didn't get it.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah.
I sometimes I go out there and I'll be like, why
Yeah.
did I even do this?
Yeah. Yeah.
Even though I did it for him, I
Yeah.
did it because he deserves that.
Yeah.
But why?
Why? Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Because now
Yeah.
you really there.
You really there?
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the reality of it that is he's not with me. I know he's there. I know where he is, but I can't take him home.
That,
Mm.
that part right there.
That
I can't take
part
him
right
home.
there.
I got
Mm.
pictures, I got all this, but I can't physically say, "Come on, let's get on the car. Let's go. Let's roll." We can't do it. And these are the. And I often tell people,
Ooh.
if you're not going to have a therapist, and you're not going to have a person that's going to allow you to talk and speak in a manner that frees you, find you somebody else.
Mhm.
Don't let them guide your journey.
Mm.
You guide your journey through your therapist, for your journey of grief, because
Mhm.
they can only tell you what they know clinically, but they don't know you. They're learning through you. They're learning you through the sessions.
Mhm.
They're learning you as you talk about your son.
Mhm.
Because sometimes, when I was counseling, they wouldn't even call their name in counseling. They would call them
Mm.
my son and my daughter. And then eventually we got to the point where I would say, um, let me use myself. Erica was such a beautiful soul. Yeah, Erica. And then I get them to start talking, calling their name.
Mhm.
So it's those little things. Now it might take me 2 years for them to call their name,
Mhm.
but I knew eventually they would be able to call the individual's name.
Right.
So never let nobody guide your journey on how them sessions, because that therapist really there is there for you to listen, for them to listen to you,
Mhm.
them to try to give you some guidance and say, okay, we'll pick up where we left off next week. And sometimes therapists don't always have something to say. Well, let's stop right here. This is a good stopping point.
Mhm.
We'll pick up next week from this point, and we'll
Mhm.
keep going and talking and getting there. And there's some people that's been in therapy and counseling 10 years. Because guess what? It's taking them long to grieve the process. And let me say this, grief never ends.
Did we not? I'm telling
It
you,
Mhm.
never ends.
never.
It just this eases the edge a little bit. But you will forever grieve them because they're no longer physically here.
Mhm.
What I tell people, it doesn't get better; it gets bearable.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
Mhm.
Bearable.
Yeah.
Every day is bearable.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
I get up and I get myself together, and it's bearable.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because until I lay my head
Yeah.
and close my eyes and go to the Lord,
Yeah.
we will forever be grieving.
Yes.
Mhm.
Forever.
So
forever
Yes.
grieving. Yeah.
And that
listen,
alone is like heavy.
right? That alone is heavy enough.
Yeah.
Yes. But you know
Oh,
what? Speaking on, we can't take our kids, and I know we winding down, but I remember, I'm a crybaby today. I'm sorry. I remember my first New Year's, and I say this to all mothers now. And I keep saying moms because I know that pain. I don't know dad's pain, but I'm speaking to moms right now.
Mhm.
I tell all the moms, and they thank me later because nobody told me that. My
Yeah.
first 20 going into 2017, I was working, and all of a sudden I bust out crying when everybody said Happy New Year's. I went in the bathroom and I'm crying so hard, and nobody knew. Oh, he not worth it, thinking I'm crying over a man. I'm
Yeah.
crying because I can't bring my son into 2017. I
Yeah.
felt like I left him. I felt like I
Mm.
left him there.
Left
Yeah.
them
And
back
it's
there.
crazy because no one tells you that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I am so transparent and so open and vulnerable that I try, like, I need you to see these steps because where I
Yeah.
am now, I wasn't
It
last year, I
wasn't brick.
wasn't 5 years, I wasn't six,
Yeah.
7 years ago. But I try to let them see I was a mess. And
Mhm.
every year I felt that way till now, it doesn't feel as bad.
Mhm.
I don't feel guilty, but I wanted so bad to go. I don't know how I'm gonna do it. I don't know. And the fact that I did not know how to do it, it
Yeah.
crushed me. Why
Yeah.
can't I go get? And I felt guilty. How am I leaving
Mhm.
him?
Yeah.
I felt that. That was July 31st, 2016. We're at
Yeah.
January 1st, 2017. And I felt like, why can't I go get him and bring
Yeah.
him into this new year with me? I felt
Mhm.
so horrible that I left my child in 2016.
Yep.
Mm.
And
Yep.
people don't tell you that. Have
Nope.
you
They don't.
ever had anyone speak that to you?
I have. I have. And I had one mother. She literally went to the grave and laid there and laid there and laid there and laid there. And finally, her daughter called and said, "My mom's been out all day. And what do? We
Mhm.
gotta go get her because it's getting about to be dark. Like, what do we do?" And I said to them, "Well, let's see if you can bargain with her."
Mm.
So, yeah. Said, "Okay, mom, tell him good night. We'll be back tomorrow." She sat there and she said, "Okay, I can do that."
Mm.
She said good night. But as soon as day broke the next day,
She was back.
she was right back.
Mm.
But she said, "I can't leave because he can't come with me. So I got to go where he is."
Mm.
So she stayed there. And it took her several months to the point where she got to the point where she didn't lay. She literally laid on top of the gravesite
Mhm.
where he was because she says, well, she felt the closest.
Oh my
And
God.
then it got to the point where she was just taking a chair.
Mhm.
Then it got to the point where she would go and just stand. And then she makes not often visits, but frequent, often, not as
Mhm.
often. So she
Mhm.
got herself. But she said to me, she said, "I'm so glad that my kids told me don't come back."
Oh wow.
So I told them, and her daughter and I, we laugh now. She's like, "Because I didn't know what you was gonna tell me to tell her." I said, and it had to be God. I said, "Just
Yeah.
tell her to tell him good night. I'll
Mhm.
see you tomorrow."
Mm.
Mm.
And just those words got her enough to leave to come back tomorrow.
She had something to look forward to.
Yeah, that's what we
Yep.
look forward to.
Mhm.
Woo!
Mm. Mm.
Honey, listen. Right.
Mm.
Too much. Look, too much to
Yes.
unpack.
Yes.
So
Yes.
again, we're gonna have to do a part two.
Absolutely.
Because
Absolutely.
yes, yeah.
Absolutely.
But I just, one, thank you.
You are so welcome.
Oh
Thank
Lord.
you.
Thank
Thank
you.
You're so
you.
welcome.
Thank
Yes,
You're
you.
so welcome.
yes.
You're so welcome.
So I know it helped us.
Yes. Like, I feel like going to bed now.
Right.
Like,
Is that
I'm
what the people in the
drained.
comments over here?
Listen. You know, the people, Raina and Kevin and Lynette, it's helping the people, and that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you know, Raina says, "Thank you for the listen. This is the purpose. If nothing else, this is the reason why every Wednesday we sit and we take the moment to be able to connect. And I hope everybody understands and realize that on Wednesday we have to open up again.
Yes.
Yep.
So we, you know, we ain't doing it just to be we got to open up all over again. But this is what I know God said do. That's what he said. So, you know, my obedience to that is, I feel like, you know, Erica, I don't even know if I ever told you, I don't go to therapy. I've never been to therapy. Through this, God has always been my therapy. And, you know, my busyness is my therapy. People talk about, you know, I never know what you're going to look like when I see you. My hair is my therapy. Like, you already know. Like, I'm going to be short. I'm going to be blonde. I'm going to put some hair in. I'm going to put a little curl right here. I'm gonna every week. Like, because that's my therapy. Like, my busyness is my therapy. I got to be doing something. I got to be here. I got to, and, you know, just hearing what you said tonight, just sometimes, you know, needing to hear it differently from another voice, you know, lets me know that it's okay. You know, it's okay not to be okay.
Yes.
It's okay if I need to talk to somebody. It's okay
if
I have to take medication. It's okay.
Yes.
It's okay.
Yes.
And we've said all the time, nobody can tell us how to feel through this journey.
Yes.
So again, sis, we didn't did this one more time.
Yes, indeed.
And we at the end, and we just appreciate Dr. Hendricks for taking time and being available and speaking to us on a whole different level. So we hope that it helps somebody like it helped us.
Yes, indeed.
We're gonna do a part 2.
Yeah.
And sis, listen. Get the tissue. I ain't had no tissue today. You know, I'm out of my element.
Yeah.
I know you had. I know. I'm over here going.
Yes. I was trying.
A whole mess.
And all I kept saying is, "Sis, not the eyelashes." No.
No, girl. Wait. Oh no. You know these lashes gotta last, girl. But I love you so much. We're gonna say goodnight to the people, and we appreciate y'all. We thank y'all for tuning in. Listen, share this to anybody that needs this.
Please.
You know, I know people can't get on. Just tag them, share it. They need to hear this part.
Yes.
They need to hear it from another voice. So here go your music, girl. I love you. Good night.
I love you more. Hey.
I said, look,
that feels good.
Feeding the ducks.
Well, we love the music. Yes, love it. Oh man.
Love you, sugar.
Whew, I love you more. Thank you so much. Thank you. Oh my God, sis, I love you. She just family now. Like, yeah. I said you on speed dial.
Right. Yeah.
Oh,
look,
man.
I'm gonna send you her number, girl. I'm gonna send you her number.
I was
love
sleeping
y'all.
with this y'all.
I
Right.
know that's right. Oh gosh. Well, you know what? Yeah.
Yeah, y'all,
Yeah.
y'all,
Y'all be
I'm in a
safe.
mental health field. I never get to sleep. So no,
Okay. I love y'all. Be safe.
Love you.